Yo, everybody out there in YouTube land, Jake of the OneManBand is back again, and we're going to be doing another RWBY in-depth look for the upcoming Volume 2. And as I promised you guys, this one is going to be about the song, Time to Say Goodbye, that's played during the new intro sequence. So let's dive right in, shall we? Now, just to clarify, we're going to be going through the entire song. The song's about 3 minutes, 40 seconds, somewhere around there. If you guys haven't heard the whole song, 1, how, 2, why, and 3, link in the description. Go listen to a full version of the song really quick. And also, we are just concentrating on the lyrics of the song. I'm not going to be talking about the animation that's going on, or the, anything to do with the intro sequence video. I'm just talking about the song. I already did kind of a in-depth look on the video in a previous video that I've done. So if you want information on that, I suggest you go watch it. So basically, I'm just going to be talking about the lyrics of the song and how I think they're going to connect to the show and how the show is going to pan out. Alright, first part of the song. There's a point where it tips, there's a point where it breaks, there's a point where it bends, and a point where you just can't take anymore. What's this saying? I'm pretty sure you guys have figured that out. It's basically just talking about everybody and everything has a breaking point. The mind, the body will break eventually if you push it too hard, put it into too much stress, take it out of a comfort zone. It's going to break and basically crumble. So, what does this entail? Obviously, either in this volume or coming up in this volume, our heroes, they're going to be put through some trials that are really going to play with their minds, their body, probably more leaning on the side of Team RWBY, since Team Juniper already kind of had a bend breaking point with John. So maybe it's going to concentrate more on maybe RWBY's breaking point, where she's going to be faced with something that she just can't deal with very well, and only time will tell, but we do know that probably there's going to be bending, there's going to be breaking, emotional stuff. Alrighty, second part. There's a line that will cross and there's no return. There's a time and place, no bridges left to burn anymore. Along the same lines as the previous verse, if you will. Basically, it's talking, this part of the song is describing they're going to get to a point where there's no turning back. Maybe a point in their lives where they just can't go back to the way they were, or the world is going to change, so peace will be destroyed. See, that's the big thing that I'm looking at. Cinder, Torchwick, and all the baddies, the grim creatures, they're going to come out of their hibernation, if you will, and like launch an attack, devastate a city, do something to where the peace of the world is going to be disturbed. As we know from Volume 1, Glenda Goodwitch explained that the world was in a time of peace. But with this upcoming threat from Cinder, Torchwick, and the Grim Creatures, and the White Fang even, that time of peace is going to come to an end, just like every time of peace does. What ruins peace? War. And what does war get ruined by? Peace. Two sides of the same coin, if you will. Alright, now the third part. We can't just wait with lives at stake until they think we're ready. Our enemies are gathering, the storm is growing deadly. Alright, let's just take that first part. We can't just wait with lives at stake. That's obviously talking to and about our first-year students at Beacon. That's going to include Team RWBY, Team Juniper, Team Cardinal, Sun Wukong's team, Velvet's team, all of them. It's concerning all of them. Basically, even though they haven't had the proper combat training, the full combat training of the 4 years at Beacon, they're probably going to be thrown headlong into this upcoming battle. Because, you know, lives are going to be at stake, innocents are going to be threatened civilians, stuff like that. So obviously they're going to have to be going out there to fight. And that ties into the second part, until they think we're ready. Now that part, sorry, it's tongue-tied. That part is talking about the teachers at Beacon. And they probably don't believe that these kids are ready for this kind of action. But are they really left with any choice? I don't think so. Because, as we've seen, there's only one teacher team. Now, there's probably more, because there's probably a bunch of other professors at Beacon Academy. But so far, we've only seen the Ozpin, Good Witch, Oobleck, and Port team. Last part of the verse, pretty self-explanatory. Our enemies are gathering. That was pretty much shown pretty well in the intro sequence, where it showed all the baddies, Cinder, Emerald, Mercury, Torchwick, Junior even. So the bad guys, they're joining forces. The grim creatures are coming. The storm is growing deadly, so there's some deadly baddies in there. There's some guys who will give a run for our heroes' money. Alrighty, now it's time for the chorus. The chorus starts out with, "And now it's time to say goodbye to the things that we loved and the innocence of youth." So, the innocence of youth. Obviously, they're going to have to let go of being a kid, being carefree, happy-go-lucky. They're going to have to grow up really fast and become adults in a hostile world. And this is probably going to hit RWBY the hardest, because she's the youngest. And I'm not sure about you, but I have heard that Monty described RWBY as being kind of innocence incarnate. So it's going to hurt her the most to give up her youth and her innocence way of thinking. And the next part of the chorus ties into that as well. How time seems to fly from our carefree lives and the solitude and peace we always knew. That second part of the chorus ties in perfectly with the first part and with the previous verse. They're going to have to give up their carefree, innocent lives of being, kids, being young adults, and they're going to have to grow up. The peace and the solitude is going to be destroyed and be replaced with war and conflict. Alright, time for the next verse. There's a point when we'll fight and we're not going to crawl. There's a day we will stand and a day when we won't fall anymore. So, basically stating that a time is coming when the warriors, these students, they're going to have to be strong, They're going to have to refuse to give up, refuse to be defeated, because if they do, people are going to die, either their teammates, their loved ones, stuff like that. So, basically, they're going to come to a point where they're going to have to fight and they will have to refuse to give up, because giving up is the easy way out. The next part, there's a moment in time where there's no going back, when they'll push too hard and we won't hold our attack anymore. Now this is real deep stuff, because it's talking about how there's going to come a time where they're going to have to stop, being the pacifist, turning the other cheek, if you will. You can only take punishment, take threats for a certain amount of time before you have to act upon it. Now, as we've seen in Volume 1, Torchwick was robbing shops, causing mischief, doing all that stuff. And there's probably going to be a few more instances in the early episodes of Volume 2 where there's going to be Torchwick's going to be causing some more trouble here and there, and eventually it's going to get to the point where the hunters and huntresses at Beacon, they're not going to be able to take it anymore. They're going to have to go out there and take him out, because if they don't, he's just going to keep causing more mischief, more mayhem. Basically, it's exactly what the lines say. They're going to be pushed too hard, and they're not going to hold their attack. So they're not going to just let it happen. They're just going to attack full-hearted, head-on, But maybe that's what the bad guys want them to do, you know? Have them come out of their protective walls. Yeah, that's something we should really think about right there. Next verse. We can't just cling to childish dreams as evil grows closer. Humanity is in jeopardy. This fight is far from over. So, this is basically saying, once again, they're going to have to leave behind their innocent ways, their childish things. Now, as in childish things, here's a thought. RWBY always liked the idea of fairy tales, how there is a hero and they would live happily ever afterwards. And then Blake commented that that's, you know, her way of thinking, RWBY's way of thinking about everybody living happily ever after. It was very ambitious for a child. But things like that didn't happen in the real world. So, is RWBY going to have to give up her dreams and her wants to, you know, live happily ever after, have everybody come out alive, unscathed? Is she going to have to give that up? Is there going to be casualties in this upcoming volume? I hope not. But the lyrics of the song suggest things, so we should just take it with a grain of salt right now. Alrighty, and then it hits the chorus again, only this time the second half is different. The second half is, with a doubt in our minds, why we chose this life, and we cannot help but wonder. It's something like that. I think I may have messed up on a few words right there, but it's the same idea. So basically, with doubt in our minds, maybe there's going to be some doubt planted within the minds of the young students at Beacon Academy. You know, like, why are you with the Huntresses and Huntresses? Why don't you join our side? Because, you know, we may be just in our views. I mean, villains, they're never just bad just to be bad. They're bad because they believe that their cause is just and what they're doing is for the greater good. So they may be trying to recruit some of the Beacon kids to come to their side. Alrighty, now it's time for probably the most cryptic part of the song. You know, the awesome guitar music is mellowed down and it's just kind of real monotone, just the simple beats. And it's really concentrating on the lyrics right here, so you're actually listening to them. The first part is, were we born to fight and die, sacrificed for one huge lie? Now, taking that and mixing it with the previous ending of the chorus, you know, that's what they're wondering, you know, are we just supposed to die for this reason, die in this upcoming war that's coming up? You know, sacrificed for a reason we don't even know why, you know, sacrificed for a lie we don't really know what we're fighting for. Now, it's this idea that's in my brain that makes me wonder. Now, I know I wasn't going to talk about the intro sequence, but here I am doing it. So, in the intro sequence, we saw Pyrrha fighting Team Cardinal, but her armor was different. So, here's the thing. Maybe her being like the strongest of all of the new students, maybe Cinder kind of plants some deceit, you know, some doubt in her mind, and kind of turns her to the dark side in a way. You know, why are you fighting for Ozpin and Beacon? You know, it's a lie. What they're standing for, it's a lie. You know, it might explain the color change of her armor and why she's attacking Team Cardinal. It, you know, and it kind of confirms a theory I had before where Pyrrha might have been a bad guy, but I don't think Pyrrha is just gonna be a bad guy just to be a bad guy. She's going to, you know, be tricked, be deceived by the other bad guys to kind of join forces with them because, yeah, deceit and lies and planting seeds and doing all that bad stuff. Alright, this last part I really want to talk about. So, are we heroes keeping peace? Or are we weapons pointed at the enemy so someone else can claim a victory? So, as we know, heroes, most of the time they always come back and they help rebuild the society that they helped protect. Think of it as the Jedi from the first 3 Star Wars movies, and by the first 3, I mean Episode 1, Phantom Menace, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So, think of it that way. Mace Windu stated in Attack of the Clones that they were keepers of the peace, not soldiers. You see, before the war erupted, the Jedi were just there to keep the peace in the galaxy. They were peacekeepers. Sure, they would throw down when they had to, but they weren't weapons. And that comes into the next part of this verse. You know, are we weapons pointed at the enemy? Now, what do we do with weapons? We use them until they're broken or obsolete, and then we throw them away. That's what we do with weapons, correct? And are they pointed at the enemy so someone else can claim a victory? Now this got me thinking, who would be that somebody else? Who would be that somebody else who would be pointing these weapons? Only one person came to mind, Ozpin. Since he's derived from the Wizard of Oz, he's supposed to be, you know, somebody who works behind the curtain, you know, creates his big old ensemble, and, you know, pay no mind to the man behind the curtain. He's supposed to be somebody who puts on a show and uses other people to get his way, as he does in the Wizard of Oz. He tells Dorothy, the Lion, Scarecrow, and Tin Man, you know, go kill the Wicked Witch. Obviously, because he can't do it, because he isn't really magical, but the same thing applies. He uses other people to do his dirty work. Does Ozpin do that? We don't know. But, in the song, are we weapons pointed at the enemy? Think of chess. What were the pieces taken from the Forest Temple? They were chess pieces. We have our knight team, Team RWBY. We have our rook team, Team Juniper. We even have a bishop team, even though it was on the black side rather than the white side, Team Cardinal. Now maybe maybe Velvet's team is a bishop, and what is Song Wukong's team? He's from another school, so we don't know what his team actually kind of is. But on a chessboard, in a chess game, what are your knights, your pawns, your rooks, your bishops? What are they all? They are all weapons. For what reason? They are weapons to protect your king and kill the enemy king. That's basically all they're used for. If you need to sacrifice one of them to obtain your goal, you do. So, are they just weapons pointed at the enemy so Ozpin can claim a victory over Cinder? Is it that deceitful? I have no idea. So basically, summary, a war/battle is coming. They're gonna have to give up their innocent way of thinking, their childish ways, and grow up, really, to become adults, to become warriors. There may be casualties along the way. There may be deceit along the way. There may be betrayals, severe woundings, deaths maybe even. And are they just weapons that will be thrown away as soon as they're broken or obsolete? A lot of things to think about right there. I hope I at least got the wheels turning in your brains. I'm really looking forward to Volume 2 coming out. I'm gonna be doing one more video before the episodes start coming out periodically every week. That one is going to focus on what I believe the past, you know, how Ozpin, Ruby's mother, Cinder, how they all like connect and stuff. It's going to be pure speculation on my point, but it may be interesting to think about. So, like and favorite if you've enjoyed. Subscribe, of course, and I hope I got those wheels turning in your heads. Comment down below. All that cool stuff. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out there in YouTube land, and I'll see you later, all you RWBY lovers. Bye!